I went to see a Columbia studio picture. It was called Rough Times, and I was so disturbed by a teacher, an activist, a biz woman doing lines of coke and then coming out of that looking so completely potent and beautiful that I decided, in my utter outrage for women everywhere, and no, I'm not a feminist, just for womanhood everywhere, these amazing women. Oh, the other one was she was working to be an elected official. They met this very cool Australian, I must add. She was awesome. And I was so upset that I walked out of the theater because here were these really, really fabulous women. And Columbia Picture, I don't know what's going on because, you know, there's the war on drugs and it's really hard out there with all the stuff going on to avoid the addictions. And the drug trade is quite powerful. And you asked Duterte in Philippines what he thinks of the whole drug trade thing. Anyway, that's another story completely, but I think you remember that. And so I decided the best way to do it was, okay, so I walked out of the theater, and the sad part was that I was the only one that did. That's what really upset me. Anyway, so they looked so fabulous and beautiful, and they had these big banners on them, like they had won Miss Universe after they'd done these lines of coke, and they had they were standing, and at first they really didn't want to, but I'm sorry, Columbia Pictures. It's not that I'm critiquing you, so I just really feel like you could do better. I just felt like you could, and I really like the actress when she played her role as this very potent psychological counter in I think it was the Legion, and she was in love with the Falcon guy, and Johannes Summer, and the pearl earring. She was fabulous in that too. So I am so sorry. I just was so disturbed to see her being cast in this role, because she honestly, like Sandra Bullock, I really like Ms. Johannes, and I really like her too. And then I'm sorry, as a fan, I was kind of crushed. I'm sorry. I'm just like an ordinary people, and you know, you look up to these celebrities, and then you see them doing something like that, and you're like, oh no, how did they get there? Because you had so admired the other roles they were playing, and then suddenly, boom, they're like, ah. And I don't know, it's all Hollywood. I have no idea. Anyway, so I decided that I guess what I had to do was film it in my own geeky way, which will be nothing like all the big film industries, because of course, like, I just have this camera, this stuff right here. So I decided I'm gonna design the ultimate girls getaway. And I went out on the road. I was on my way up north because I had some stuff to do for family, etc., etc. And I asked women along the way, Canadian women, what was your ultimate girls getaway? I asked them, can you give me a tip? So this is what they said. One of them said, very cool, in a Tim Hortons. She was a Tim Hortons regular work person, you know, served me the most wonderful coffee, very polite, really nice, and a young girl. And she said, oh, I would go to a convention. And I said, oh, that sounds super cool. So from that, I got the idea, because you know I love fiction. Oh, Lion, excuse me, I have to let Lion out. He needs to go for a little bit of a explore, because he's quite expensive. Careful, no splatting, Lion, that's the rule. And he's really good. He's really good at this. He finds his inner cat. And so I decided, okay, remember the G7 convention in Toronto? Well, I thought I would take that. So the girls group I'm going to invent, they're going to go to the G7 convention. I'll tell you more about that later. And then the second lady I met, very nice women, and I told them, oh, I'm a writer. I want to hear what your ultimate idea is. And she said they like the spa day. So I said, oh, that's awesome. So you're laying there in the spa. Awesome. And you're getting a treatment. I remember I had fish nibbling off my old cells, so I could have like these new refreshing styles. And the best one was in the Philippines when they did that naturally in a stream, these fish nibbled off. Oh, it was great. And then, of course, in the spa ones, which was invented mostly in the Asian continent, they had ultraviolet lights to keep down the bacteria, which is very cool because the ultraviolet now, which is quite high, is actually helping us to keep our waters clean. But, you know, don't give it all the work to Mama Nature, okay? Because it's also causing a lot of skin cancer. So could we just like help out with keeping those lakes and river areas clean? You don't want to give her all the work, right? No, we don't want to give her all the work. So anyway, so that one was back to my girls' getaway. So then I thought, yes, that is going to be the next one. I'm going to have a girls' getaway, imaginary, of course, where they're going to go on a spa. And I thought, well, spa hopping will be the thing. And then they end up in a Blue Jays game. All right, so then the next one, which is very, very cool, when I talk to real people on my journey up north, 4-hour drive, no problem. I got to ask them for some more ideas. And then the next idea was, let me recall, did I make notes on that? The next idea was, look, sorry, just looking so cute. Look how they are. Yeah. Of course, we're gonna have moms in my getaway. Yeah. The next idea was that they would meet, in my opinion, with the guys who were on a guys' getaway. And I had this thing when I was in India. We ended up on the side of the road, same in Australia. Our car broke down, blah, blah. Oh, I'm telling you, the heat was so intense. Oh, it was awful. And I was with all the guys, of course, me, and because we were on our way to the Taj Mahal. Why would I not want to do that? Of course I would. Yeah, I have to clean this up. Sorry. This one. No, they don't all get together. They just have a little fun, and they come to learn about the differences between a guy's getaway and a girl's getaway, and then they have moments of overlap, and it's kind of perfectly human and very, very nice. And they just, help each other out, which is good. So that was part of my scene. My cat's doing all right there. Yeah, he's all fine in his perspectives. And then I thought I would add, finally, hey, Yan, how you doing? It's an awesome cat. And then, of course, we'll have to have a few pets in there because that's what we do. And then I was going to have them because I talked to one lady and that we all said we like to have a glass of wine and sit together and talk. We love to talk about things together. And so I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Our glass of wine in my girls' getaway, my ultimate girls' getaway, we're gonna have it in a canoe, in a cabin on a lake. And you know what happens when women might drink a lot of wine and be talking in a canoe? Luckily, we all swim very well. And also, we are, going to look after each other. And so we end up, and there's going to be some blueberry tea, too, and a paddle boat. So you can see where that's going to go. And that's going to be really fun. We're going to have such a great time. So here's I'm still inventing. And then, let's see. What was the last one that a woman said? All the tips. Oh, it's been so fun. Yeah, most of them said just really sitting down and talking with each other and connecting that way. And, like sometimes a little crying or a little hugging or, just really letting our emotions fly free a bit, without getting like completely so sappy that we're just going, oh my God, it's so boring. So we have a little intellect, we have a little empathy, we have a little adventure. So that's going to be, and we have a little righteousness. So, and rationalism. So that's kind of the features of it. So I'm gonna build that. Oh, what a challenge! While I'm on a bike going through London, Ontario. Okay, here's phase 1, which is our first epic. It's called Go Away. and then come back refreshed. I've given up on the idea of getaway because it sounds like we're trying to get away from something when actually we really like what we're doing, like teacher, activist, kind of bizwoman, mom, but we need a break, we need to recharge our batteries and then have new perspectives. So I'm calling it the go away and then come back. So this is what we do, right? So we're gonna base this one on the G7 summit in Toronto. You remember that? So the group of girls, they go to the G7, and you can pick whatever region or where they're from, but there's great diversity and great strength amongst all of them. I'm not going to pick a field or discipline. I'm just going to tell you they're soul sisters and they're just these amazing people, okay? And so they decide when they go to the G7 that they're just going to go there because they've actually gone to Toronto to just have dinner, do a little shopping, see a little theater. But what they didn't calibrate, because they're incredibly busy and they're like, moms, and they're like 24/7 on, and they're got the half career, semi-career, because hopefully the workplaces are making it easier to be a part-time mom so they can actually spend some time in their nurturing roles while they're also exploring their intelligence, contributing to the world at the same time. And so they come in there and they're thinking, this is a nice refresh, and they go to the restaurant, but by accident they end up right in the middle of the riots for the G7. And what do they do, these women? I'll tell you, because it's the ultimate go away and come back. They stop this hugely radical group. One of the women, let's say, what do you want? Do you want red hair, blonde, brunette? I don't care. She's just stalwart. She's stalwart. She stands in front of this crazy person with this black stuff all over them, and they've got this mask, and they're gonna just destroy and smash all these business windows because she doesn't know it, but they're actually very radical, and they've actually been hired. They're like missionaries coming in to just destroy so that they can get the sound and get all the attention and all the voice. They don't really care about the G7. They only see the opportunity. And then, so they stop it from happening, and they end up aiding the police in that situation, and they stop the window from shattering because they actually, they tackle the person. Then there's this other G7 group who are also activists, and they are moderates, and they're just like real people. No, really, this is from the news. They're real people, and they actually want to decide that they want to just protest. They want to protest. And yeah, they're going to set a police car on fire. And there's a policeman that's being a little, bit of a brute because it's all very tense. And, they've got these big shields on and this equipment. So you can't really blame them. They're a little intense because they're charged with keeping public safety. And so these women go in and they actually pick up one of the protesters that has fallen, bloody kneed. Police are being a bit strong on that one, but they can't help it because they've also got the radicals that have come in from this other place just to disturb and distract, not to really do anything about the G7. So they're like, oh my God. So they just kind of pick him up, dust him off, and they go, you okay, dude? And he goes, yeah. And they give him this hug, and there's this like little cry fest because it's all really surreal. It's the G7. And then by accident, they kind of wander in, totally by accident. They start following a few people around. They're protesting, going, we want the G7, we want peace, we want environmentalism. And they start kind of joining everything and getting so absorbed in that. They end up finding this back door. Well, actually, it's kind of a sewer. They lift off the metal grate. They go down there because they're like thinking, well, we've got to do something more. And they're kind of also trying to escape from the whole really big noise of all that people out there and the fires and the burning. And so they think, oh, let's just go underground for a bit. And they end up surfacing. Guess where they surface? They surface right in the G7 summit. And so what do you think they do? I'm going to leave this part to you. These women these women, I'll tell you, maybe they're a teacher, maybe they're an activist, maybe they're a biz woman, maybe they're just a mom of 5 kids, maybe they're a cop, maybe they're like a cop off duty, maybe they're all these women, any one of them, and they end up getting to talk to the G7 lovers. You can, the G7 people, you can imagine the astonishment at first when they land there and they're all kind of scraped up, and you know, their beautiful fancy clothes are a bit roughed up and a bit of rip from, you know, from crawling through the sewer system to get there, but they're very determined women, and they end up telling and the G7 at first is like, should we call security? We're calling security. And they're like, well, no, we just kind of accidentally ended up here. We were on a girls' weekend, and you know, we were out there in the G7. Somebody tried to smash the shoppers' windows, and we tried to save them. And then, oh my God, oh, hello. Oh, hi, yeah, there you go. Oh, wow, you're very cute, yeah. And then we had to pick up this guy because he was like a moderate, really nice person just protesting. We're a bit, you know, we're a bit frazzled, and we ended up in the sewer system, and now we're here. Somehow we got into your summit, and we're carrying no weapons or explosive devices, honestly. So, of course, they get up against the wall. They get, you know, kind of patted down, and they aren't. They're carrying lipstick. They're carrying purses. They got a little perfume. They got a wallet. They've got tickets to the Royal Alex Theater that they have totally missed. And now they're in the G7, and they say, well, what do you want to say, ladies? Well, isn't that epic? So they turn to each other and they say, really? You want to hear us? And they say, well, you made it all this way, and you look like hell. Although, you know, you probably started out with beautiful hair and your makeup full on. And they went, yeah, we were really like decked out for this. And we ended up here. And they go, okay, tell us what you want to say. And then, ladies, that's what they did. So I'm going to let you fill in that blank. If you were in the G7 and it was your go away and come back weekend, you just tell me what you would say to the G7 leaders of the land, across the land. And don't tell them to fuck off, okay? Because they kind of gave you a bit of a opening. So just go ahead and speechify. Well, you know, just say it like it is, because you've got the ear. You've got the ears. And that is my first part of my epic girls go away and come back weekend. Super fun. All right, so now that was the park view. Now we're going to go over to the river, and I'm going to give you part 2. And thank you to the young girl in Tim Hortons who gave me the idea of going to a convention, from which I jumped up and made this imaginative kind of G7 thing. So thank you to her, the real person.